The graphical data can be in 2D or 3D formats, and non-graphical data can be other documents like maybe text documents, Excel files, spreadsheets, and databases. And the documentation, as I explained, would be the hard copy formats with proper numbering, naming, and properly referred to in the within the digital data. This center area is known as common data environment. So it identifies this common data, that is graphical, non-graphical, digital data plus documentation is the data that they talk about, and they identify how this data is generated, or especially how they are shared and managed as the common data environment. And this information is not produced at once, so they are gradual development through the project life cycle, starting from the briefing stage. So the data generation starts at the briefing stage. During these stages, we set up the system so that this data generation occurs through the process appropriately as to fulfill the identified information requirement. And so you can see the importance of identifying the information requirements at the beginning, because if you don't identify a certain critical information requirement, the established system through this process may not be capable of delivering that information, which may lead to significant challenges sometimes, because when we are going with this kind of systems, it is very much difficult to reverse engineer, but we have to go forward with whatever is available. So it is quite challenging if you don't get the appropriate information in the appropriate formats and standards. So we have to pay significant attention at an early stage to get done a BIM project appropriately. I think that is clear to you. So until the OPEX starts, that is until the building is handed over to the client for the operation, what we have is called the project information model, or PIM. Upon the handing over, what is there is called asset information model, AIM. Be familiar with these terms because they will appear regularly in various different places, so you must not get confused what they are. Next I will talk about the lower part of it. The green color, what are they? Toffees? Okay, so these green toffees, wrapped toffees, are representing the information exchange between project team members at various stages. You can see that there are critical points which identifies validation of information exchange between supply team members. Here suppliers are information suppliers. So these are some key points or critical points that you have to make sure, or that you want to make sure, that information exchange has properly done. The suppliers have produced required or agreed information as required, and without making sure that everything is in place. As you can see from this diagram, it does not recommend you to go to the next stage. So at the end of briefing stage, you have to verify that you are fully ready with whatever necessary at the end of briefing stage to go to the next stage. So that does not mean that you exchange information at this stage only. These circular arrows are indicative that throughout the process you are exchanging information. So you are doing that, but at this point you are validating if exchange has happened right. Then you continue to exchange, then you check, continue to exchange, and you check. That is how it goes. So you can see that there are various checkpoints which are identified in parallel to the project life cycle, which is easier in implementation. Then this red toffees are information exchange with the client for key decision making. You may still exchange information with client, but these red toffees represents information exchange with client for key decision making by the client. Now you can see it is made parallel to this check point, right, which they call data drop point, and at that point you provide a certain set of agreed information to the client to get his decision whether he's okay to go forward or any change is needed. So if any change is needed, you are still in the briefing stage, information exchange. You will be changing information, redesigning, do whatever the things necessary at this stage. However, here there is no design actually, but this is actually finalize the project requirements. So you continue to improve it and submit it to client. When client gives the green light only, you can go to the next stage. So at the end of briefing stage, you identify the client's requirement for the new asset. Mind you, this is not about information requirements. This is requirement of the new asset, that is new building or refurbished building. When it is fully confirmed, you go to the next stage of concept design, and you continue to exchange data, information, and come to a checkpoint with the client. So the client will validate, and if he's okay, give the green light to go to the next stage. You go forward, and you can see after the definition stage, when the client confirms that that is what he wants as a building or as a new asset, there is no other checkpoint to go back. You go forward until it is handed over. So changes can occur, the client can give some variation instructions, all these things can happen, but this is not a critical checkpoint. There are no critical checkpoints as per the information management cycle recommended. However, there are checkpoints for supply information exchange, and you verify this information and go to the next point. Here the reference is given. For details, you are recommended to prefer CIC scope of services, which defines what sort of services to be provided by the project team members in terms of project delivery. So this diagram is prepared in parallel to that, and also BIM task group, digital plan of work stages, and as you go on, you will realize that this is connected to many other documents also. So we will talk further about working with BIM. Hope you got a good understanding about how to understand or interpret this diagram. That is very important, because this diagram will be used in the latter part of the document to discuss about various things, and often it will highlight the relevant areas that you have to focus on for necessary understanding. Okay, so we'll meet again with the next part, and keep in touch.